Have you been wanting to go to a specialty wine retailer, but you've been a little intimidated? You're used to going to Trader Joe's? Well, I got 3 tips for you from my local wine retailer, and I'll share them with you. Stay tuned. Welcome to this week's episode. This is where I hopefully will give you some great suggestions on why it's such a great idea to go to a wine retailer in your area. Someone who actually really wants to care and help you find new wines, maybe some specialty gifts for a great occasion. And I think the third thing that's so important is they actually will help you pair wines, not only with food, but wines that you already like, and maybe they can help get you something that's very similar. So those are the 3 things that I think are so important when you go to a wine retailer. It's so much different than, when you go to Trader Joe's, which have, they have great selection, but there's really, not always someone there to help you. And the same thing at Costco. You have to know what you want so you can go get the case. So you don't get that individualized attention. Well, I went to a very local wine retailer near me. It's called the Italian Store, and I sat down for about at least an hour and a half with John, and he's the wine buyer, and they do such a great job of setting up their wines and displays, and they have nice tastings, and so approachable. One of the questions I asked him is, what are some of the things I could, tell my viewers about going to a wine specialty store that you could offer that the big guys don't offer, the Costco's and the Trader Joe's. And I love what he said. He's like, well, I talk all about the experience. What do you like about wine? What could I help you find? And then he really wants to tailor it for you. And that's very different than the other places. And then I said, well, are there some things that they should know coming in? He's like, no, this is all about the experience. I want them to come in and maybe tell me about the occasion that they need to get a wine for, or it's a gift. And we're going to do a whole other episode as we get closer to the holidays about John's recommendation for getting gifts of wine for your friends and family and coworkers and, of course, your boss. So the whole idea is this experiential finding something that's tailored for you so that you can find some wines that you already know you like, but maybe a different producer, and maybe explore and try something that you've never tried before. Well, that's what John did for me. So after we were done with our interview, I said, John, so what's something that's sort of exciting to you and you want me to, try, and maybe I haven't tried it either, believe it or not. I've had a lot of wines. And he said, Trent, how about this bottle? And he said, it's summer in a glass. And I said, wow, really? And there it is. Look at this beautiful label. I'm not sure if you can see it now, but you'll be able to see it when we show it. This beautiful label. And one of the nice things about it, I'll tell you what it is, and then I'll tell you one of the nice things that, again, when you go to a wine retailer, they can tell you the stories behind it. You know why? Because they've usually met the producers or the importer, they've tasted the wine, they know exactly what's in their store. When you go to some of those other places, it's just there, and the person you may find, if you could ask a question, they won't know what wine it is or what it tastes like. When you go to a small wine retailer or a specialty boutique place, they know. They've tasted their wines, they bought it, and that's why it's in their store. So this one is just gorgeous. It is a Garganega, and which is, you probably have seen in the stores, the Soave. So it's up from the Veneto area in Verona, Italy. So in the northern part of Italy, not too far from Venice. And the grape is Garganega. But what's so cool about this one is it's a Frizzante. So it's sort of a semi-sparkling wine. So you get those neat bubbles about it. It smells great. It looks great. And it was so great we actually had it with some Thai grilled shrimp, and it was just perfect. So this wine has notes of sort of like nectarines and white flowers, and maybe some limes. It's just easy drinking. When John said, oh, it's summer in a glass, he was so right. So I encourage you, I'll put all the details in the description box, but try to find this one. It's from a very small producer, right? It's a husband-wife team. It's in their third generation. They make the wine, and once they sell out of it, that's it until next year. He was telling me about them and how they're so meticulous about their vineyards that, they wait for the right time in the morning or in the afternoon, whenever they want to harvest, hand harvested, of course. So it's a very small, family-run boutique winery who produces just some fantastic wines. This wine, all the work that goes into it, this one is between $10 and $15. So I encourage you to look for it. Put in the description box some other places you can find it. If you're local to our area, you can go to the Italian store and go see if John still has some. But it's worth searching out for. It's just great to know about the Garganega grape, who makes the Suave wines, but a Frizzante. What a great uplifting wine to have. Well, what's it like? Well, let's say you enjoy Pinot Grigios, and maybe you liked unoaked Chardonnays, and maybe you like Moscatos, or maybe even Prosecco. I think you'd love this. So again, when you go to these specialty wine retailers and you're getting that individualized attention, they're going to explain that to you. And they say, well, do you like this? And you say, oh yeah, I enjoy Proseccos a lot. Okay, well, maybe let's try this. So that's what's so nice about it. So if you get a chance, go out to your special wine retailer, tell him or her what you like. What do you enjoy tasting? And that was one of his tips. I said, John, so what should people come up and tell you? He said, it's easy. Just have them tell me what they like. What do they enjoy drinking? What are some other wines that they've enjoyed before? What kind of foods do they like to eat? It doesn't have to be fancy. You can say, I love macaroni and cheese. Well, wine would be great with it. And there are so many wines that are great with macaroni and cheese. Don't worry about it. Well, so that was an undiscovered gem. So again, helping me find a new wine. Well, then I said, John, I've loved Super Tuscans for years, and I like this new, the IGT, which is, a wine that's very typical of the area, right? So this wine's from Tuscany, and I said, I want to make a grilled porterhouse steak, and I'd like to spend under $30 for this one, because I just want to grab the steak, and I want a great wine, and I want something from Tuscany. And he said, I've got it, Trent. Here you go. And this is probably my sixth bottle of this one. I love this Al Paso. It is just delicious. In fact, I'm going to pour it now because I'm making myself thirsty. So this wine is, again, Super Tuscan. Why do they mean Super Tuscan? Well, it started about 1988 in Tuscany, and it's grown in the area of Chianti. The problem is they're not using the exact same grapes, huh? So it's not just Sangiovese and Caniello, and it had different requirements. So this was a way for the wineries or the producers to say, well, we want to make wine and we want our own grapes, and we want to try Cabernet Sauvignon, we want to try Merlot, and we want to try Syrah with the indigenous Sangiovese grape. Well, they had to come up with something different because that's not a Chianti, as you know from our episodes. So that's sort of where the Super Tuscans came from, and the IGT is it's a way of letting you know that, okay, this wine may be from Tuscany, not a Chianti Classico. This is going to be wines that aren't necessarily indigenous, and it sort of falls out of the prescription of what can be allowed. So, great find. Again, if you go to your special wine retailer and say, I'd like to try, I like Chiantis, what's something like that? I like Cabs, I like Merlots, I like Syrahs. I bet you they're going to turn you on to an IGT or a Super Tuscan from Tuscany. So again, this wine, did it go well with the porterhouse steak? Absolutely. It's a blend, and it's about equal parts. So it's Sangiovese, it's Cabernet Sauvignon, and it's Merlot. And oh gosh, it's just wonderful. Dark plums, and of course cherry. That's my Sangiovese note I could always tell. And what's beautiful about this wine is it's not too tannic. It's medium bodied. It was great with the steak. And right after we're done filming, we're going to go to the Italian store, hopefully see John if he's there, and pick up a pizza. And I bet this one's going to go great with it. So, of course, as the Italian wines always are, great with food. This one has a Sangiovese in the Cab and the Merlot blend. Just wonderful. Well, there you are. We sort of walked away with going and interviewing John finding out a wine I've never had. I've never had a Garganega Frizzante from up in the Veneto region of around Verona. And I was so glad I did. It was a huge hit. We served it to some friends and they were like, wow, this is fantastic. I know, because I wouldn't have just walked over and picked it up. And then he helped me find something I sort of already knew I liked, but he said, try this one, see what you think. Wow. It's fantastic. So I'm going to go pick up some more of these with the pizza as well. And again, that's what I want you to walk away with, that you don't need to be intimidated about going to a wine store. They're not there to, look down on you. They want to help. They've tasted the wines. They want you to find something at their store that makes you happy. And of course, so you'll keep coming back. So I encourage you. I go to Trader Joe's myself, and I've been to Costco. As you know, they don't always help you find those things. So our next episode will look at what are you going to do when you want to get a special gift or there's a special occasion. The specialty wine stores will come to your rescue. So there you go, everyone. Wow, 2 great wines from my local wine store, and I hope you find some wines, especially these 2. You can definitely find these at local wine retailers, wine.com, Vivino, and I'll give you some more ideas below. $15, maybe $20. This one is $10 to maybe $15. Wow, it's not even a splurge. This is something you deserve, especially in these times. So thank you for sharing our channel with your friends and your family and your coworkers, remotely of course. And it's so wonderful to discover the world of wine together. And don't forget those wine retailers, specialty stores who want to help you discover the world of wine. So until next time, everyone, cheers.